Hi everyone, good evening, Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Injury Reserve project, Floss. Injury Reserve is a rap trio hailing from the unlikely location of Arizona. This is their second full-length project following up 2015's Live at the Dentist's Office, which was actually recorded near a dentist's office. Not sure if this project was recorded while flossing. I was pretty psyched to listen to this thing because Injury Reserve's big breakout tape last year showed them to be one of hip-hop's most exciting rising up-and-coming acts, taking the flows and charisma and lyrical chemistry of jazz rap and updating it for 2016, with progressive production and banger beats. And they're not beyond dropping some introspective, dreary tracks either. If Injury Reserve is anything, it's versatile. Richie with a T and Groggs together bring a set of bars that are clever, insightful, funny, and occasionally personal, all of which are laced with a myriad of quirky pop culture references. And with this new project over here, they seem to be just pulling out all of the stops, coming through with their most aggressive set of tracks yet. Off-the-wall bangers with a dump truck of personality and wit. The kind of shit that's insanely catchy will most likely go over well with most modern hip-hop fans, but could also, open up a mosh pit too. That is pretty much how Injury Reserve sets the tone of the record with the opener, "Oh shit," not just because of how the shouted, grimy chorus pairs up with the dreary, chopped-up piano samples. It's not just the trunk-knocking bass and a hook so strong you could catch a great white shark with it. And it's not just the lonely, auto-tuned singing at the very finish of the track, which is surprisingly good. Or bars like, "Remember when I had a composition in the backpack like a notebook, now we killing with all the composition like the Rat Pack," which links back into the very funny refrain, "This ain't jazz rap, this that spaz rap." It's not just those things, it's also that the song is good. The trio keeps up the momentum on this project with the song Bad Boys, obviously a reference to the movie franchise starring Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. I love the gospel spiritual vocal samples laced throughout the instrumental. Sort of reminds me of college dropout era Kanye. The track is basically this sort of jazzy, awesome instrumental and two solid verses, with memorable bars about dropping a tape that was classic, but motherfuckers couldn't find it, sort of talking about how great but also how obscure the trio's last project was. Then Richie goes on to say something about them being like the rap game Weezer, and how he's dressed like Carlton, he's the black Ben Carson. And the trio brings yet another barn burner with the song All This Money, another one of the year's best rap singles. And Richie with his monstrous growl on this hook and just the instrumental. These guys are unsigned, but they're making most mainstream rappers sound like little cute fluffy kitties.
Little baby kitty cats.
This track, obviously a little funny, a little tongue-in-cheek, sort of about recklessly spending your money. You could go on a spending spree to this track, whether you have $2,000 in your pocket or $2 in your pocket. And from here, the trio effectively sways between these powerful bangers and more nuanced cuts. The song S on Your Chest is buttery, smooth jazz rap with some amazing fluttering horn samples, complete with some pretty prominent Little Brother references right in the first verse. Very sweet, very tasteful, definitely a highlight. And then all of a sudden they bust out with the song What's Goodie, which features this loud, banger, off-kilter instrumental, but most importantly, one of the best features of the year from none other than Cakes the Killa, who brings all these braggadocious bars about sort of being a trendy socialite, getting drink tickets in his Mishka hoodie. I love his closing line saying that if you kiss the Don, don't leave a hickey. His voice gets pretty animalistic right there. It's definitely one of the best performances on the mic I've heard this year. So fast, so intense, so precise, so energetic. And then with the track Girl with the Gold Wrist, we have this sort of funky desert vibe going on, this groove going on with the track that has these really prominent acoustic and electric guitar licks. Doom, doom, boom, boom. One of the most unique rap beats I've heard this year. The topic of the song being about this jaw-dropping woman at the club as Groggs and Richie detail all of these inner feelings of lust and desire, infatuation, and bad decision-making. The 2016 interlude I like as well. I typically roll my eyes when people sort of use the current year argument when they're sort of debating politics, although I find this song to be sort of funny, a little tongue-in-cheek, as Richie sort of flatly says, hey, you know, you're not talking about where your family got their wealth, you're not admitting that you're wealthy, you know what that flag on your belt buckle means, why are you pretending global warming isn't a thing? I mean, again, as silly as I think this go-to argument is, there are some things that just really, it's sort of hard to believe that we're still doing this shit in 2016. Now, I will admit, this is where the album wanes a little bit for me. We have All Quiet on the West Side, which has a solid verse to kick things off. I love the pitched, sort of very deep chorus vocals on the track too. Reminds me of like an interesting ASAP Mob or something. But after this verse, the song just turns into this like extended instrumental outro, and I feel like there just could have been more. And I have to give it to Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo as my least favorite cut on the project. Although it's not like terrible, and I think I've sort of grown to tolerate it a little bit. I do like the lyrics. I do like the verses quite a bit, especially when Groggs is rapping about what it takes to make it in the rap game. But the track's full on, blown out, distorted, in your face, almost industrial flavored instrumental paired with the sort of incessant, redundant nursery rhyme hook. It's just not like the best pairing. It gets kind of old, yeah, a little fast. And this sort of industrially tinged sound is something that I feel like they returned to on the song back then. Another banger, sounds huge, has this gigantic auto-tuned chorus, and thematically the song is not too much unlike that of a track by the same title, once performed by one of the greats, Mike Jones. Sort of comparing the fact that people are obsessed with you, want to mess with you, want to have something to do with you now because you're successful, versus back in the day when people were not so much interested. And I'm not so much sure I'm all that crazy about the weird auto-tune solo and sporadic drum solo on the outro of the track. Still though, love the song Keep On Slippin', a very dark moment on the record with a fantastic feature from Vic Mensa, whose verse is really an emotional roller coaster, especially the point at the very end of his verse when he raps about trying to get his shit together, working to make everything go right, but as he tries, everything just goes wrong, everything gets worse. And it's at this point on the album that I kind of wish that Injury Reserve maybe went down this road on one other track on here, especially since some of the drearier, moodier cuts off of Live at the Dentist's Office are some of my favorite songs of theirs, period. And I think that they pull this mood, they pull this vibe off better than a lot of rappers today do. They can go personal, they can go heartfelt, and it's actually, you know, legitimately compelling. But I could sort of understand that they wanted to reach a new audience with this project, that they wanted to hit people over the head with this project, they wanted to deliver a high-octane experience with this project. Still, the closer does satisfy as another personal moment on the project. It's a really triumphant moment. It is, in a way, a feel-good moment, but very sentimental too, as the trio looks back on the long road that took them to where they are today. There are some gospel vocal samples sort of fading in and out of the beat sporadically. I like their inclusion, although I'm not really all that happy about how they were treated. I wish they were a little more prominent in the mix. And it just got really, I don't know, moving as Groggs and Richie started rapping about just their efforts and their family and their loved ones. As Richie was referencing, sort of, you know, writing a card to his mother with rap lyrics on it to tribute her, dancing in the kitchen, dancing in the street as a young boy. This one moment where he says, "It just sucks when I'm at your funeral and no one knew I existed," referencing his father's funeral. But I ain't really tripping, man, that's family business. had the same outfit on I graduated in because I heard you were fighting the doctors and they still made you miss it. Which at the time when I had first heard that lyric and really listened to it, it really fucked me up. And I love Groggs' closing line on this track when he says, you know, we took you to the dentist's office and now we took you to church on this new record over here. I love this project. I mean, it's not a perfect record in my opinion. I've been seeing a lot of people hype this album up and saying, hey, it's album of the year. And honestly, I'm really happy that some people feel that way because I think this is great. And I think in a lot of ways, this is a step up for Injury Reserve. And regardless of how much I like this record or how much I don't like this record in comparison with Live at the Dentist's Office, I would love to see them do well because I do think they are an interesting creative force in the underground that I see no reason why your average rap fan wouldn't love a song like Oh Shit, wouldn't love a song like All This Money, wouldn't love half of the fucking songs on this project. So hopefully this album spreads a little virally for them at the end of this year, start of next year. I like this album a lot. Some of their best material so far lands on this thing. A few shaky tracks in the last third, but nothing that really bucked me off of the album, nothing that really had me disappointed with the project in general. I'm feeling a decent to strong 8 on this thing. Transition. Have you given this Injury Reserve project a listen? God, I hope you have, because it's the last best project of 2016, or it's the last great project of 2016. All sorts of links next to my head, other videos you should check out, subscribe to the channel, and official website. Thanks for making it this far into the video. Watching these videos all the way through, really important to that new YouTube algorithm, guys. Really important. Again, where you can download this thing is down there in the description, so make sure you do that, and hope you're well. Hope you guys have a good holiday. List week is coming up forever.